Alright, today we're going to do Chapter 6, Fractional Parts. In order to understand a fraction, you first have to understand the concept of what a whole or one whole object would be. And this object could be food, like a pie, a lot of times that's used. It could be a whole group of people, like the whole class. It could be a whole gallon of milk. It could be a whole tank of gas. Once you understand what the whole is, then fractions become a little bit easier to understand. Okay, so here's example number 1. It says, what fraction of this circle is shaded? So we have a whole circle right here, and none of it's shaded. So 0 parts are shaded in the circle. Well, let's look at this whole circle and see how it's divided. How many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 different parts here. So if I filled in one of those parts, that would be one of those 8 parts are filled in. How we represent that is a fraction, which would be 1/8. Alright, a fraction can also be referring to a group. So if you have a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, if I took this whole, see if I can draw a line here, I took this whole group and I selected one person, that one person would be a fraction that can represent that one person would be 1 out of 8 people. So 1/8 of this group has been covered up right here. So let's say I want to take 2 people out of this group. Then this group would be this group of 2 people would be represented as 2/8. So 2/8 of the group has been covered up, or is in hiding, so to speak. This, of course, reduces to 1/4. So 1/4 of the group you can't see. Alright, so we have right here, what is 1/2 of 450? So 450 is the whole. A lot of times if you see the word of, that means 450 is the whole group. And so we want a fraction of that group, and what fraction do we want? We want half. So how are we going to calculate that? You can do it a couple different ways. The word of always means multiply. So we're going to take 450 times 1/2. If you know how to multiply fractions, which I don't know if you know yet, you multiply straight across. So 450 times 1 is 450. 1 times 2 is 2. So now we have a top and a divided by bottom situation, where this is the dividend and this is the divisor. So let's rewrite this. 450 divided by 2. I'm going to calculate this out really quick. 2 will go into 4, 2 times 2 is 4, subtract 0, bring down your 5. 2 will go into 5, 2 times 2 is 4, subtract 5 minus 4 is 1, bring down your 0. 2 will go into 10, 5 times 2 is 10. So your answer, what is half of 450? The answer is 225. Okay, so basically, a quick way to remember this is if you have a 1 in the numerator and a 2 in the denominator, 1 on top and 2 on bottom, then you can just take the denominator and put it as a divisor, and you take the whole, whatever number is representing the whole, and put that as the dividend. Divide out, you'll get your answer. 225 is exactly half of 450. Okay, let's see if that works. Part B for example 2 is what is 1/3 of 450? So we're just going to take 450. Actually, I think I'm going to run out of room there. Make sure you have enough room. I'm going to take 450, divide that by 3. So 3 will go into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract 1. Bring down your 5. 3 will go into 15 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Bring down your 0. 3 will go into 0 0 times. 0 times 3 is 0. So your answer is 150. What is 1/3 of 450? 1/3 of that is 150. So that is correct. That's your answer. So this method can work. So you have 5 kids and you have $4.50. You want to give them a little bit of money for candy. You don't want to give them tons of money because you don't want them to eat a bunch of candy and ruin their dinner, their appetite for dinner. Whatever. There's a scenario. So we want to divide this 450 into fifth. So what is 1/5 of 450? So each kid is going to get 1/5 of $4.50. So our method will still work. So you write $4.50 and you're going to divide that between 5 children. Let's go ahead and divide that out. 5 can't go into 4. Let's bring you the decimal straight up. 5 can't go into 4. So let's see if 5 can go to 45. That'll be about 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract. Bring your 0 straight down. 5 will go into 0 0 times. So 90 cents. Your answer here one-fifth of 450 is 90 cents. Okay, so example number 3, it says shade 1/3 of the figure below. So what makes the whole? This is a whole figure, so we want 1/3 of this figure, the whole figure. Like we were just doing, we find out what the whole is, and that is comprised of 1, 2, 3 parts. So we're going to take 3 times 1/3. We multiply that out. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So 3 over 3 equals 1. I'm running out of room. I apologize. But so that 1 means we would shade 1 box here. Alright, so basically what we're doing is we're going to take whatever number represents a whole object. That could be the whole class, how many people are in the class, your whole gallon of milk, your whole pie, whatever you want to talk about, your whole pizza. What you find a number that represents what your whole is. So, and whatever that is, you're going to divide it by whatever's in the denominator of the fraction. See? I'll just put denominator, D for denominator. Okay? So in this situation, how many parts represent the whole? And that is going to be 6. And you're going to divide that by the denominator of the fraction, which is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So how many parts are we going to shade here? 2. Woo! So 1, 2. So now we have shaded 1/3 of this figure.